I'm Portia. This is my wife, Ellen.
Hi.
And
we've been together for 16 years. We've been married for 12 years.
Love stories come in all shapes and sizes, from grand gestures to quiet moments. One romance that captured the hearts of millions was between Portia de Rossi and Ellen DeGeneres. As a high-profile celebrity couple, their relationship not only touched fans worldwide, but also helped bring visibility to LGBTQ+ love and issues. For a time, it seemed like their bond would last forever. However, recent reports suggest there may be tension behind the scenes, leaving fans curious about what's really going on. Now, Portia de Rossi has broken her silence about the challenges in their marriage. In this video, we'll take a closer look at their relationship and share the latest updates on what's happening between the couple. Accusation surrounding Degeneres. In July 2020, former employees of the Ellen DeGeneres show accused Ellen DeGeneres of fostering a toxic on-set atmosphere of racism, fear, and intimidation. They claim she failed to address executives who were allegedly sexually harassing female employees. Additionally, other accusations included making racist remarks about employees, firing staff members for taking medical leave, and replacing her own crew with non-union workers during the early days of the pandemic. Most of these claims were made anonymously by the former employees in an article by BuzzFeed News, which quickly went viral. One of the most disturbing allegations was that DeGeneres fired an employee for setting up a GoFundMe page to cover medical costs not covered by workplace health insurance. And in the blink of an eye, the internet turned on DeGeneres. A particular tweet that went viral came from comedian and podcaster Kevin T. Porter, who called DeGeneres one of the meanest people alive, and invited Twitter users to share their stories of DeGeneres' meanness. The tweet gained massive traction, leading to lots of revelations, ones that shocked the whole world. One of the biggest allegations came from Mariah Carey, who recounted a time when DeGeneres had tried to pressure Mariah to drink alcohol on the show so she could reveal whether she was pregnant. In an interview with Vulture, Mariah shared that the experience made her feel extremely uncomfortable, as she was indeed pregnant at the time but was reluctant to share the news publicly before she reached her second trimester when the risk of miscarriage decreased. Tragically, Mariah later suffered a miscarriage. This was only one of many unsettling stories that surfaced about DeGeneres. There were additional allegations that Ellen would send people home if she didn't like how they smelled, and that certain foods were banned on set. There were also stories of employees being terminated suddenly without explanation, and many were allegedly instructed to avoid making eye contact or expecting any acknowledgement from Ellen. A former Ellen staffer recalled, "I saw Ellen in the hallways every day and would say hello, and she never once said hello back. She wouldn't smile. She wouldn't even acknowledge me at all for 2 seasons." Some former employees reported feeling that Ellen would frequently embarrass others in public settings. Basically, all the revelations painted a picture of Ellen as someone who felt she was better than others, often treating people as if they were beneath her, most especially if she thought their roles were insignificant. It's important to note that these stories came not only from the workplace but also from people who dealt with Ellen in her everyday life. For example, a celebrity bodyguard shared that Ellen was the first and only client who never even acknowledged his presence. Comedian Chris Farah, who worked as a waitress in 2014, also claimed that Ellen went out of her way to email her boss to try and get her fired over chipped nail polish. According to Farah, Ellen complained directly to the owner of the restaurant about this minor detail. During her show, some audience members who got to participate in a game segment called Make It Rain, where guests were soaked while answering trivia questions, shared stories of how they were treated backstage by producers. One woman, Di Matteo, said that she was initially thrilled to be picked out of the audience but was left cold and shivering after the segment. "They told us they were going to give us dry clothes to change into," Di Matteo told Inside Edition. She went on to say, So they had us waiting in a hallway by the bathroom. And it's almost like they forgot about us because we were waiting for a good 45 minutes. It was freezing cold. She also added that she was shocked about what producers told her before the segment. They tell you you can't be smarter, funnier than Ellen. She's the comedian and the star, not you. She then expressed her disappointment, saying, "You just expect a lot when you go to meet your idol. When you get disappointed, it's such a letdown." Others reported that Ellen would only speak to the audience while the cameras were rolling. As soon as they stopped, she would sit on the couch without acknowledging anyone. Even during her visit to Australia for some shows, a radio show host who was invited on set described her unusual experience with how Ellen treated her staff. He recalled, "They just called us aside and said, 'Now you know no one wants to talk to Ellen, so you don't talk to her, you don't approach her, you don't look at her.'" The people who worked with her walked on eggshells the whole time, and the whole thing was totally bizarre. Obviously, with her long-standing reputation as this person who promoted nothing but positivity, people were shocked and outraged at this walking contradiction that Ellen had become. It wasn't long before Degeneres herself issued an apology saying, "On day one of our show, I told everyone in our first meeting that the Ellen DeGeneres show would be a place of happiness. No one would ever raise their voice, and everyone would be treated with respect." Obviously, something changed. And I am disappointed to learn that this has not been the case. And for that, I am sorry. Anyone who knows me knows it's the opposite of what I believe and what I hoped for our show. After 19 years on air, the Ellen DeGeneres show came to an end in 2022. After this, DeGeneres and her partner Portia de Rossi made the headlines when they decided to buy 2 dream mansions in Carpinteria, California, for a jaw-breaking sum of $70 million. Fans saw this as Ellen began her retirement with a luxurious new home. However, a few months ago, barely 2 years after they bought the property, the couple sold it off, sparking speculations that the two might be headed for a divorce. Sources suggested that the pair had hit a rough patch in their marriage after just celebrating their 16th wedding anniversary. There have been other reports about Portia de Rossi coming out to reveal some things about the issues the couple is facing. Portia's background. But to fully understand how much it must have taken for Portia de Rossi to speak openly about her struggles, it's essential to know her story, which has been lessons on the themes of resilience and transformation. Born Amanda Lee Rogers in a small Australian town, Portia faced an early tragedy when she lost her father, Barry Rogers, at just 9 years old. This loss left her deeply searching for identity and belonging. Her mom, Margaret, had to work extra hard as a medical receptionist to support the family. Portia started modeling for ads and TV at a young age, but she felt lost and unsure of her place in the world, dealing with both grief and a sense of disconnection. At 15, she decided to take control and reinvent herself, choosing the name Portia, and then adding an Italian surname de Rossi, inspired by a Shakespeare character from the play The Merchant of Venice. For her, this action marked a fresh start, a step towards leaving her past behind. She started her acting career with a small role in the Australian film Sirens in 1994, but it wasn't until she moved to Los Angeles that things began to pick up. If she thought it was going to be easy, she was about to be proved wrong, as she initially struggled with her accent and landing roles. However, her big break came in 1998 with the role of the lawyer Nell Porter on Ally McBeal, which brought her recognition in Hollywood. When the show finished 4 years later, more huge movie roles started to roll in, and things started to look up. Behind all the glitz, Portia de Rossi carried a heavy private struggle. You see, from 1996 to 1999, she was married to documentary filmmaker Mel Metcalf, the main reason for the marriage being that she wanted to get a green card. But the plan didn't go through. Talking about the marriage, she said, "It just obviously wasn't right for me." Aside from this, de Rossi was fighting another battle, coming to terms with her identity as a lesbian. As a young actress, she feared being exposed, worried that the wrong kind of publicity could limit her opportunities. This fear led her to keep her relationship secret. From 2000 to 2004, De Rossi dated director Francesca Gregorini, the daughter of Barbara Bach and the stepdaughter of Ringo Starr. None of her family or castmates in the Ally McBeal series knew she was a lesbian until tabloid pictures of the couple were published. The unexpected public exposure caught her off guard, and she declined to discuss the relationship or her sexual orientation at the time. However, a life-changing moment came when Portia crossed paths with Ellen DeGeneres backstage at a Rock the Vote concert. Reflecting on that encounter in an interview with People, De Rossi recalled, "So I remember, I think the first time I saw you was at a concert for Rock the Vote. And she was with some friends, I was with some friends, and I just have this memory of her walking very quickly backstage, and I was running to catch up to her. I just remember running backstage after her and just thinking that she was the coolest, most fascinating, beautiful, funniest person I'd ever met. But I, at the time, was closeted. I really wasn't comfortable with my sexuality, and she was obviously very open about hers. I just knew that being with her would be a bit of a thing for me at the time. So we didn't get together after that for about 3 years. It was this shared experience of being lesbian in Hollywood that ultimately helped De Rossi find the courage to finally come out and be true to herself. De Rossi ended her relationship with Francesca and began dating Degeneres. By 2005, Portia felt ready to share her truth, discussing her experiences and fears in interviews with the media. It was a turning point, as it felt like a huge weight had lifted. Finally, after years of being a shadow of herself, she finally came to terms with who she truly was. Eventually, Ellen proposed, and the two became engaged. They got married at their Beverly Hills home on the 16th of August, 2008, surrounded by close friends and family. In 2010, Portia filed a petition to legally change her name to Portia Lee James DeGeneres, which was later granted, solidifying her new chapter and identity. Even though Portia de Rossi found stability in her love life, she continued to struggle with body image issues and eating disorders, battles that began during her Ally McBeal days. She fought anorexia and bulimia, enduring a painful journey that left deep emotional scars. In 2010, she opened up about her painful experiences in her autobiography, Unbearable Lightness, a story of loss and gain, hoping to help others going through similar struggles. In the book, she also mentioned that she was misdiagnosed with lupus, an experience that must have been terrifying. Recovery wasn't easy, but with Ellen DeGeneres' support and her newfound openness, De Rossi began to heal. In 2018, De Rossi surprised fans by announcing her retirement from acting. After years of reinvention, the decision felt unimaginable, but she was sure about her decision and said that she would only return for Arrested Development if it was necessary. For the most part, she was ready to move on. Outside of Hollywood, De Rossi found fulfillment in her life when she discovered that she shared passions with Ellen, especially their commitment to animal rights. Together, they supported organizations like The Gentle Barn, a non-profit dedicated to rescuing abused and neglected animals, and Locks of Love, which provides hair prostheses to financially disadvantaged children who have lost their hair due to medical conditions. These pursuits gave her purpose beyond fame. Fame, however, brought its challenges. In 2017, De Rossi revealed an incident from an audition years earlier, where actor Steven Seagal had exposed himself to her. The experience had traumatized her, but even with that, she refused to stay silent, sharing her story in hopes that it would empower more women to speak up. Ellen's background. Throughout De Rossi's journey, Ellen DeGeneres stood by her side, becoming a constant source of love and support. Their relationship really showed De Rossi the power of real love and self-acceptance. As she once said, reflecting on the life-changing impact of being Ellen, "I didn't know it could be this easy to love someone." After years of fear and self-doubt, she finally felt she belonged. However, Ellen had faced her own painful past. In 1973, her parents' divorce left her feeling torn and alone. Her brother Vance stayed with their father, which created a physical and emotional divide. Shortly after, Ellen's mom remarried a salesman, Roy Grusendorf, and was looking to move on and get better things out of life. But that happened to be a mistake, one that greatly affected her daughter's life. Ellen was only barely a teenager when Roy molested her. He used her mother's recent breast cancer diagnosis as an excuse to touch her inappropriately, saying that he needed to examine her breasts for lumps. One night, his advances went too far as he tried to break down her door and sexually assault her, prompting Ellen to run away from home and spend the night in a hospital. The trauma weighed on her, but telling her mother brought more pain. Her mother didn't believe her and remained married to Roy for 18 years afterward, leaving Ellen to carry the weight of that betrayal alone. Despite a rough home life, Ellen DeGeneres kept pushing forward and graduated from Atlanta High School in 1976. She moved back to New Orleans to attend the University of New Orleans, where she majored in communication studies but later found out that college wasn't her thing. So, after a semester, she dropped out and took on various jobs, selling clothes, waitressing, house painting, bartending, anything to pay the bills. It was tough, but Ellen's drive to express herself led her to comedy. She found her voice in the smoky clubs of New Orleans, especially at Clyde's Comedy Club, where making people laugh became her escape. She was mainly inspired by Woody Allen and Steve Martin and dreamed of becoming like them. In 1981, she became the MC at Clyde's, and just a few years later, she earned the title of Showtime's funniest person in America. Ellen once said, "It was my way of surviving, using humor to deflect pain and connect with people." As her comedy career took off, her past continued to haunt her. In 2018, she returned to stand-up with her Netflix special Relatable, where she reminded fans that there was more behind her smile. But Ellen wasn't just a comedian. She also starred in movies like Coneheads and voiced Dory in Finding Nemo, bringing joy to others even while carrying her own scars. Ellen got her first big break with the sitcom Ellen, where she made history by coming out as a lesbian in 1997, both on and off screen. However, her decision to be open about her sexuality came with its share of backlash, and the show was eventually canceled. But Ellen didn't quit. She returned in 2001 with The Ellen Show, though that also ended quickly, being canceled just after 13 episodes. In 2007, a former writer said she treated the writers like shit, saying, "Why do you keep writing these unfunny jokes?" This would be the first sign of the issues that would eventually lead to Ellen stepping away from the TV world. Despite these setbacks, Ellen kept pushing forward, and she later re-established herself as a successful talk show host. In 2003, Ellen DeGeneres launched The Ellen DeGeneres Show, which went on to win 25 Emmy Awards for its first 3 seasons on air. The show quickly rose in the ratings and received critical praise, establishing Ellen as a beloved talk show host known for her warmth and humor. However, despite her success with The Ellen DeGeneres Show, rumors kept flying about Ellen's behavior off-screen. Some former writers claimed that she wasn't as friendly as she seemed on TV, raising doubts about the authenticity of her kindness. Still, Ellen's career soared, and her show became a staple of American television, with memorable moments like when she reunited with her high school classmates. "I never forgot where I came from," Ellen once said, even as her fame continued to rise. In 2017, she expanded her empire by launching Ellen's Game of Games, a fun game show that deepened her connection with fans. However, as the show continued to grow, she began to feel trapped by her public image. In a 2018 New York Times profile, Ellen opened up about the pressure of maintaining the persona everyone expected of her. By 2021, Ellen decided it was time to wrap up The Ellen DeGeneres Show after 19 seasons. The final episode was aired in May 2022, and it marked a quite emotional end. Her journey through TV had its ups and downs, but it managed to leave a lasting impact on viewers and daytime television. Behind the scenes, Ellen's life was far more complex than her public image suggested. While her financial success was undeniable, as she earned about $84 million in 2020, With a net worth of $370 million, her story went far beyond numbers. She had millions of followers on social media, so there was no doubt that she had a massive reach. She also had big stars like Oprah Winfrey, Justin Timberlake, Jennifer Aniston, Billie Eilish, and many more on her show. However, a lot of her life stayed out of the limelight. Without cameras, she was a huge NFL fan, always seen cheering for the New Orleans Saints and Green Bay Packers. Her playful side and self-deprecating humor made her even more popular. But under those smiles and jokes, her personal relationships weren't always easy. Her retirement in 2022 might have marked the close of a long, memorable career, but there were still many untold stories in Ellen's journey. You see, Ellen's decision to come out as a lesbian in 1997 was not an easy one. The media frenzy that followed had a profound impact on both her career and personal life. At first, her mother, Betty, didn't take the news well. Although she eventually became a strong and supportive ally, it took some time for Betty to fully accept her daughter's truth. In her book Love, Ellen, Betty shared her journey of acceptance and advocacy for her daughter and LGBTQ+ rights. Ellen's personal life also included notable relationships, including a romance with actress Anne Heche from 1997 to 2000 and photographer Alexandra Hedison until 2004. But it was her relationship with Portia de Rossi that truly became a defining chapter in Ellen's life. The two first met in 2000, but it wasn't until years later that they reconnected and began dating in 2004. Initially, they kept their romance private at first, but when de Rossi was ready, they let the cat out of the bag. Ellen was there for de Rossi as she navigated living openly, and de Rossi later said, "I had walls up. Ellen was the first person who made me feel safe enough to let them down." Their connection was deep, and they felt destined to be together. When their relationship became public, they quickly became symbols of hope and love, especially for the LGBTQ+ community. And as Ellen's career continued to skyrocket, and de Rossi kept giving fans impressive performances in her role in Arrested Development, they seemed inseparable. They were often seen together at events, radiating happiness and affection. In 2008, after California lifted the ban on same-sex marriage, Ellen proposed to de Rossi at home, and their simple, beautiful wedding was a celebration of their love and triumph for the community. Struggles in their relationship. Behind the smiles, however, Ellen and Portia's relationship faced its own set of struggles. As Ellen's career continued to soar, the pressures that came from fame and constant public scrutiny began to take their toll. And by 2014, rumors about their relationship troubles began circulating. The pressure to always be the perfect Hollywood couple wore them down. This was the time that de Rossi was grappling with eating disorders and was struggling to find her own identity under Ellen's spotlight. She felt lost in the shadow of her wife's fame. Despite Ellen's presence, de Rossi often felt isolated and overwhelmed by the demands of their public lives. In 2018, Ellen seriously considered ending her talk show due to the overwhelming exhaustion that came from constantly maintaining her cheerful persona. She confided in her wife, saying, "I'm just tired." De Rossi, who understood what Ellen was going through, supported the idea, hoping that it would allow them to reconnect and rebuild their relationship. However, Ellen renewed her contract and the show continued, much to de Rossi's dismay. Then, in 2020, the pandemic brought a new set of challenges, including accusations that Ellen had enabled a toxic work environment. Though de Rossi supported her all through it, the strain on their relationship was immense. But the two of them remained together, navigating the difficulty of public life and personal struggles side by side. After Ellen left her talk show in 2022, both she and Portia de Rossi took a step back from the spotlight, focusing on their shared passion for real estate. Since they met in 2004, the couple has bought and flipped over 20 properties, making a substantial profit along the way. However, as reports have surfaced, Ellen's newfound constant presence at home has started to take a toll on their marriage. With Portia not working much either, the couple has been spending more time together than ever, which, according to sources, has led to some tension. In fact, the couple sold their dream home in 2024, signaling that things may not be as ideal behind the scenes. Sources from In-House Weekly revealed, Ellen is known for flipping houses, but this one is different. It was their dream home. They just celebrated their 16th wedding anniversary on August 16th, but it wasn't exactly celebratory. The source continued, they're always in each other's face, and frankly, they're getting on each other's nerves. Ironically, it was Portia who had long encouraged Ellen to retire from her show, a decision that now seems to have backfired. Now, Portia probably wishes she hadn't, the source added. She doesn't have her space. Every time she turns around, there's Ellen. For your approval. Ellen's recent Netflix comedy special titled For Your Approval, which was being shot in Minneapolis, was expected to provide a break for the couple. The hope was that time apart would rekindle their bond. But the special didn't have the desired effect. The special gathered lots of critical reviews about Ellen's performance, calling the jokes boring and unfunny, and criticized her handling of the toxic workplace accusations that had plagued her show. According to an article in Time magazine, Ellen did very little to take responsibility for the allegations. Instead, she focused on lessons about not caring what people think, while also lamenting that men are allowed to be mean bosses, but women aren't. She failed to directly address the specific claims about her conduct behind the scenes, instead suggesting the impression that some jerks randomly decided to destroy her life by calling her mean. The way Ellen handled the allegations on the special actually got quite the opposite of what she thought it would. It only seemed to further alienate her audience. While many expected an apology or at least some reflection on the toxic workplace claims that had surfaced, she chose to sidestep the issue and rather focused on her personal philosophy. No two words about it. This approach backfired, as it seemed dismissive of the very real concerns that had been raised about her behavior. Her attempt to steer the conversation toward gender dynamics in the workplace, while valid in some respects, seemed to serve more as a deflection than a meaningful discussion of the controversy surrounding her actions. Critics argued that this lack of accountability was a missed opportunity to repair her image or at least begin a more nuanced conversation about the complexities of power dynamics in show business. While Ellen has remained silent on the backlash, it's likely that the ongoing controversy has added more strain to her relationship with Portia. Despite the rumors and challenges, the couple remains together. Only time will tell how they navigate these new hurdles. What do you think about Ellen DeGeneres? Do you think she deserves all the hate she's been facing, or do you believe that her stepping down was the best move for her? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Kindly drop a comment below and share your perspective. Thanks for watching.